Pull up a chair and buckle up. It's the Original Strength BodCast.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's edition of the Original Strength BodCast. Got hopefully a good Q&A for you this week, but before we do, just want to let you know that last week I was on vacation with my family for spring break in the Bahamas. In fact, we were at this place called Atlantis, and that place is so big, I don't know how you could ever lose it. It is certainly not the lost city. Anyway, probably within 3 hours of being there, I don't know if you can see this. This is visual. I stepped on this, which looks like a sawtooth shark's tooth. Anyway, this is a sharp part of a seashell, and I stepped on that and punctured my foot about a half an inch deep right there, buddy. And I got to tell you, a lot of blood, lots and lots of blood. But thankfully to the kind folks at Atlantis and a very kind lifeguard named Philip, he bandaged me up and stopped the lot of blood and sent me on my way. Now, I'm going to be honest, it hurt and it was sore, but I had to walk it off. Matter of fact, Atlantis is so big, we averaged over 20,000 steps a day. That was a lot of walking. So fortunately, I healed fairly quickly after a day and a half, and I was able to walk normally for those 20,000 steps. Anyway, so we had a great vacation. Got to spend some good time with my boys, and Atlantis, or the Bahamas, is just simply beautiful. I love it. I would go back. I would go back tomorrow if I could. Anyway, okay, so now is the time of the show where I share something that brings me joy. And so this is ridiculously silly and stupid, and I'm sorry. And some of you are going to make judgments about me for sharing this. And but you just have to understand, this made me so happy for several reasons. But in Atlantis, they had this restaurant. I don't know if it was a wonderful restaurant I have never been to before, and it was called Shake Shack. And my youngest son, convinced me to go with him to get a burger at Shake Shack. And I gotta tell you, I got a double stack cheeseburger. And when I bit into it, the very first bite, I almost started crying. It tasted so good. And I know it's silly. I've never been to Shake Shack before. I'm sorry. And I gotta tell you, it was all the willpower I could do not to eat there every day after that. So I make your judgments if you want. I'm eating hamburgers. I'm eating double stack burgers. I ate a double stack cheeseburger with my son on spring break in the Bahamas, and again, I almost cried. It was so good. I haven't eaten those every day since. The nearest Shake Shack near me is maybe 30 minutes away, but I do know where it's at. I know where it's at now. Anyway, that is my silly thing that brought me joy. I'm not telling you to go to Shake Shack. I'm just telling you it made me very happy. And part of it though was I got to share that experience with my son, and it was just a neat, good time. All right, so this week's Q&A. This one actually was not a question to me. It came though on the Dragon Door. Oh, I am so sorry. Not Dragon Door. I am so sorry. It came from the Strong First forum, and I'll just read this. In the past, I have read on the Original Strength website that they believe stretching is unnecessary and potentially dangerous. However, I noticed that Strong First members often mix and match methods of exercise from different systems based on what works for them. Does anyone use both traditional stretching and original strength? And what have been your results? So, he actually answered this in what he was saying. He's noticed that members often mix and match methods and exercises from different systems based on what works for them. And that's the answer. What works for you? Now he's also referring to, from our website, back in 2014, Jeff Newport and I probably wrote some articles about stretching and why we don't stretch. And, that was 2014 and we had our reasons then. I would like to think that it's 2025. We have had the opportunity to grow and alter or evolve in our thinking. But I will also tell you that for me specifically, I am still pretty much of a non-stretcher, unless, of course, stretching feels good to me. I'm going to be honest, like waking up in the morning and stretching like a cat, or actually mixing Some of the original strength resets with stretching, like say bird dogs or Superman contralateral steps, man, they feel so good when you add that stretch. But those are dynamic stretches, and they're part of the movement. Um, but they stretch you, right? And if you lift weights, if you're moving through your full range of motion, you're essentially stretching. Now the question is it dangerous, and do you need to stretch? And the answer is it depends. So if you're stretching because you're tight or inflexible, so here in OS, we often view that if you're tight and inflexible, it's your brain trying to protect you. Your brain is so smart, it does not want to allow you to move in ranges of motion that it does not trust you to move in. So your brain is always trying to protect you. So if it's restricting you, inhibiting you, because it is an inhibition organ, if it's inhibiting you from being flexible like Gumby, there is probably a reason. So if you are successful at overriding that safety mechanism, then there is the potential that you could be exposing your body to an injury or a challenge that your body is trying to protect you from, right? So if that's the case, then there may not be a lot of benefit to stretching. Now, there's also the performance aspect of it. Research shows that if you do static stretching before you need to express strength and power, like say either in the weight room or on the field or on the track field or whatever your sport is, that long bouts of static stretching before you perform actually inhibit your ability to perform at your maximum expression. So less power, less strength. And in the weight room, that may not be the safest thing in the world. On the football field, that may not be the safest thing in the world. So just keep that in mind. But when it comes down to you, like, why do you want to stretch? If you stretch because you think it feels good, and it feels good to feel good, right? That's the motto. And in that sense, stretch away. But if you're trying to stretch because you feel like you're inflexible, I guess the question would be is why? Why is your brain trying to protect you? And then maybe what if you solved that and opened up your mobility or your body's ability to express itself in a more full range of motion? So it's not that we don't believe in stretching as much as, I mean, we know it exists. It's just that why would you stretch? So it's not really an easy answer. I think it is something that is individual specific. If you want to be like Jean-Claude Van Damme, I don't know that any amount of original strength or resets is going to help you get there. You may actually have to do some specific tissue lengthening exercises like stretching to be able to perform a double split in the air when you do your kicks. But if martial arts is not your world and you're not trying to be a dancer or Jean-Claude Van Damme, then maybe you just don't need to stretch. There is some validity to having stored tension like springs in your muscles to be able to move with speed and power. We all have a natural resting tone that I think is probably beneficial to most of us. So again, why do you want to stretch? It's up to you. I don't think that stretching is bad. I just personally I really don't stretch again unless it's in the movements and it's very dynamic where I move in and out of it. I like to crawl like a cat. Sometimes I like to stretch like a cat, but that's just me. It feels good to me. So there are no hard rules though. Now I have seen the argument that, well, your brain's trying to protect you, so maybe you don't want to stretch then. But what if you're just stressed and you just hold tension in your muscles? Well, let me stop you right there. Holding stress or tension in your muscles is holding fear in your muscles, and that is still your brain trying to protect you. So again, the best solution may be getting to the root of the stress or the tension in your muscles. Like, why are you holding that there? What are you afraid of? What is your brain trying to protect you from? If you can deal with that, what if it's as simple as that you just need to remember how to breathe the way you're designed to breathe? What if it's as simple as you need to learn to put your tongue on the roof of your mouth where it belongs? What if it's as simple as you need to quit watching the 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock news, or you need to stay off of Facebook and quit reading other people's opinions about the doom of the world? What if it's things like that? And those are things that you can easily address that gets to the root of the issue, that helps remove the fear from your mind and your muscles so that you can move the way you're designed to move. So Do you need to stretch? I'm going to give you a loose maybe. Is it potentially dangerous? I'll still give you a loose maybe. But if you enjoy it, absolutely go for it. But again, if it's a fear or a protection issue, I think getting to the root of that is going to be your best bet. And often the root of that is that we just need to live in our design. We are designed to breathe a certain way, to move our eyes and head a certain way, to move our body a certain way, and to engage in our gait pattern a certain way. And we are also designed to not consume fear on a 24-hour basis. We are not really designed to know what's happening all over the world at every second of the day. That's insane. And that just is so toxic to our brain and our heart and it makes your brain feel unsafe because all you know is the bad things. We're designed to take in the good things. We're designed to consume nurturing, life-giving things. And it is those things that allow us to move better and express ourselves in optimal physical movement and creativity and emotional expression. So if you're not moving the way you think you should, if you feel tight, chances are too you're not emoting the way you probably should. You probably are a little bit withdrawn, a little bit darker on the inside than you need to be. You need some light. You're designed to move well, you're designed to feel good, and those things are tied together. And when you move well, you do feel good, and when you do feel good, you do move well. When you're not afraid, the brakes are off the body and all the inhibitions melt away. All right, guys, that's it. That's my tip for this week. I hope that helps somewhat. It was probably kind of circular, and it probably ended in a way that you didn't expect, but there's nothing about you that doesn't affect all of you. You're a whole being, body, soul, and mind. And your mind affects how your body moves, and your body, how it moves, affects how your mind thinks. It affects how you feel. And we're designed to be whole. We're designed to move well, feel well, and just be bright and light. All right, kids, I'm Tim with Original Strength. This was the Original Strength Podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Now go, press reset, and then get outside and play.